On China Insider, we cover the thousands of photos of Uyghur detainees from the Xinjiang police files, as well as a shoot-to-kill order for anyone who attempts to escape. From the youngest of just 15 years old to as old as 73, images of police drills and internal documents. We speak with the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation President Andrew Bremberg on his organization obtaining these shocking documents and photos. I also speak with the Prime Minister of the East Turkistan Government in Exile, Salih Hudayar, on his reactions to the photos. Welcome to China Insider, I'm David Zhang. The Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation published thousands of photos hacked from Xinjiang police, the region where ethnic Uyghurs are facing persecution by the Chinese Communist regime. It is estimated that over 1 million Uyghurs are currently in concentration camps. It is the first time high-quality photos matching IDs and names of individuals from as young as 15 years old to as old as 73 years old have been unveiled. The Chinese regime continues to deny the existence of such camps. In the instances they do acknowledge anything about the Uyghur population has been under the false pretense of counterterrorism and de-radicalization. The Xinjiang police document is the first time that the world has seen the tip of the iceberg of the huge concentration camp system in an unmistakable way. Simultaneously, internal spreadsheets reveal that approximately 286,000 people have been in camps in this region in particular, representing a per capita incarceration rate that is more than 64 times the national average in China. What is this concept then? Let's just say that this rate of incarceration exceeds the peak of the Stalinist purges. We're only looking at the first half of 2018, mind you. In the document that also came to light, there is an internal speech by Xi Jinping which explicitly mentions that the current number of camps is not enough and that the expansion needs to be accelerated, which means that more people will be imprisoned in the time to come. Detainees are required to wear handcuffs, shackles, and black hoods when moving from one location to another. The documents show that one of the camps had 3 external watchtowers on a high fence. Camp guards patrolled the camp every half an hour, and 27 special police officers formed a camp strike team to suppress any resistance or attempts to escape. If a detainee became ill and had to be taken to a hospital, he or she had to be accompanied by at least 4 people, 2 police officers, 1 official, and 1 medical doctor. If there was any attempt or resistance, the camp would be locked down, and no one would know what happened inside. Now, on the internet in China, the photo of the 15-year-old girl in the camp has become an absolute sensitive piece of information. And these are not prisons, they're concentration camps. There is no law here. The official internal speech is the law. The camp manager is the law, and he can shut them down when he says so. He can release them when he says so, and how many people have disappeared forever, no one outside will ever know. Through months of work by Dr. Adrian Zenz, a human rights researcher at the VOC Foundation, they have verified these victims' images. Along with the images of the victims are a number of police PowerPoints, training PowerPoints, drill pictures inside and outside of the detention centers, as well as top internal documents detailing the directives on Xinjiang, including a shoot-to-kill orders for anyone who try to escape. This comes as Michelle Bachelet, the United States High Commissioner for Human Rights, is visiting Xinjiang, a trip officially deemed unproductive for investigating the situation in the region. On the trip, Michelle Bachelet met Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi and was gifted a book titled Xi Jinping on Respecting and Protecting Human Rights. When I emailed and asked Secretary General of the United Nations about her visit, Antonio Guterres told me this. It was an essential condition that her investigation be independent. Now, the trip doesn't seem to be anywhere near that. You can read more about the victims and the stories as well as all of the PowerPoints and internal documents on XinjiangPoliceFiles.org. Link will be in the description below. Today I'm speaking with Ambassador Andrew Bremberg, President and CEO of the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation. He is the former representative of the United States to the Office of the United Nations and other international organizations in Geneva, as well as Prime Minister Salih Hudayar, the Prime Minister of the East Turkistan Government in Exile, and the founder of the East Turkistan National Awakening Movement. What were your first thoughts when you saw these photos being published by various media now?
Given the fact that the Chinese government has been denying this, shows the world, especially others who are still skeptical about what is happening, it shows that indeed what Chinese government is doing is not vocational training or re-education, but concentration camps. Like, these aren't lies, these aren't, some Western conspiracy. And I think this is a test for humanity's conscience, to see how they're going to act now after that they have seen all this evidence, undeniable evidence of what is happening. There are, photographs of over 2,800 people, the personal, data of over 300,000 people. These aren't just random, names that have just been drawn up. These are people that are actually, have a name, that exist, that have been sentenced officially by the Chinese Communist Party to, anywhere from several years in prison to, 20 years in prison for so-called bogus charges of terrorism, simply having, listened to, someone giving a religious lecture, or having, contact with someone overseas, or refusing to smoke, cigarettes or drink alcohol.
The Chinese Communist Party say the camps are for de-radicalization or for counter-terrorist activities. But when you see photos of young girls under age 15, 14, even younger perhaps, and up to ages of 80 and 70-year-olds in those photos, what does that say about the excuse they're giving?
Well, it's always been a baseless excuse that the Chinese government has been using. This is not a campaign of, de-radicalization or anti-terrorism. This is a campaign of colonization and genocide waged to eradicate the existence and identity of Uyghur, Kazakhs, and other, non-ethnically Han people in East Turkestan.
Michelle Bachelet, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, is set to visit. She's already there, actually. And we had talked about how she was gifted a book from Wang Yi, the foreign minister, about Xi Jinping on human rights in China. What are your thoughts on this trip in general?
Well, firstly, in terms of the book, that's, a huge slap in the face to the UN Human Rights Commission, to human rights in general. They are literally mocking human rights. This is a regime that is committing genocide, the gravest, crimes against human rights. And yet you see the, Human Rights Commissioner accepting this book. If I had been there, I would have just walked out right then. That would have been it. No more meeting after that. But given the fact that, this visit is taking place, this has been carefully staged for months, and the Chinese government, the Communist Party, is going to use this to the fullest extent to propagate and deny that it's waging genocide and other crimes against Uyghurs and other Turkic peoples.